Hello and welcome back to the Flourgoldwizards channel. I'm Jason. That's Rigby. We're part-time gold prospectors based in Wisconsin. And today we're at a brand new spot that I was invited to. That's right, somebody invited me to go gold mining. So I took them up on the offer. I'll show you around a little bit and I'll introduce you to our hosts back in a bit. This is Elijah. Say hi, Elijah.
Hello.
And his dad, Tony.
Hi.
And he invited us down over here in western Wisconsin to this beautiful stretch of water right here. And there is lots of water. I was a little bit concerned coming out to this part of the state as it's been so dry over in my part. But apparently they got a lot of water, a little bit of rain, and there's plenty of water to be had around here. Now you're saying you're getting some pretty good gold around here, huh, Tony?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I do appreciate the offer to come out. And we'll see if we can't put something in my pan. Now, Tony has sent me a few pictures of some gold that he's been getting along this bank right here. And they are mighty impressive. So I thought, you know what? Me and Rigby are going to take a ride or a swim. We're going to see if we can't find some for us. So I brought all my gear. I brought 2 sluices and a couple of pans. And I mean business today. So we're going to see if we can't find something special. I can already see just walking in the water now. There's some really nice gravel bars up in there. And he says this whole edge right here, once you get down into the clay, it's got plenty to offer. So let's see what we can find. Back in a bit. Well, I was just about to set up my sluice. And Rigby reminded me, test, test, test. Now I brought my little sluice and my great big one here. But the first thing I want to do is grab one of these here pans and this shovel. And we're going to. I'm going to grab this blue one right here, this XP pan, and I'm going to go up by that big gravel bar up there, and I'm going to see if I can't find something good before I set my sluice up somewhere. Hang on. All right, we made it up to the gravel bar. I'll kind of show you where we were just. And he's been getting gold on that inside edge right there. Water is coming down and around. It's a really long inside bend. But what catches my eye in particular is this gravel bar right here that Rigby just found. There's a lot of really nice looking cobbles on here. And the secret to getting the gold out of this place, I believe, is getting through these cobbles down to some kind of clay or some kind of material that's going to stop the gold. Because this little bit larger body of water here, once it really gets rolling, is going to churn this stuff up, and that gold's going to settle right down through it until it hits something that stops it, like clay. And here's an old pool back here. Let me take a shovel out of there one time. Yuck. Let's take a look, see what that looks like. Nothing but light wash sand. So let me scrape around a little bit, see if I can't get down to some clay, and I'll take a couple samples out of this main gravel bar right here. Pan number 1. Well, we did take a great big huge heaping pan right out of, I do believe, what is about the middle of this gravel bar from bank to edge where the water is meeting it right here. And that's just maybe 8 inches right off the top. And we did find a couple pieces of gold right here. I'll show them to you right there. 2 little specks, maybe 3. I think there might have been one over there, very tiny. And that's probably to be expected, only getting right down into that light wash sand right there. So I'm going to take another sample a little bit deeper. I might even just scoop some of that out of there and try to get a little bit lower than that. And then we'll probably start moving towards the bank a little bit, see if we can't find a little bit of clay. Back in a bit. Pan number 2. Nothing. Video update number 1. I found a little bit more color. All right, we were up on that gravel bar up there, and I was finding maybe 2 or 3 or whatever in a pan or every other pan, and they're absolutely super duper minute. And I came down here just a little bit further. All right, let me show you. And I got right around 20 in one pan. Whatever he told me to dig. Ish. These guys have been working right up here right along this here on the downside stream or side of this gravel bar up here. And I never did get down to any clay up there. And it was just all that late wash sand as far down as you could dig. I didn't move up to shore too much. Then I just wanted to come down here to make sure these guys were actually finding gold and not pyrite, but they are finding gold. And I took a scoop out of, where the heck was I? Right in here maybe, I think. And I didn't hit clay per se, but I didn't hit all wash sand. And I think that might be a good sign. If I get down just a little bit deeper, the pieces might get a little bit bigger. But the key, I guarantee you, the key to this spot right here is getting down to the clay through all that sand and gravel, because that's where the gold's gonna sit. So let me keep looking around here before I set my equipment up, and I'll try to put us on something special. Back in a bit. Well, it's a numbers game. Always has been, always will be. The more numbers you're on, the more gold you're gonna get. And if there's 20 pieces in one pan, in that spot right there, you're gonna run some numbers. Especially with this stuff, it's extremely easy to classify. As you can see, I just did that with one hand. Dump, repeat. I've got my little sluice set up right up there. I'm gonna run a level 5-gallon pail of classified material. See what it looks like. All right, we are running. I wish I could get just a little bit more pitch in this sluice. It is capturing black sand, and I'm starting to feed it in a little bit slower than I started out, just because I noticed it started building up in here a little bit. Now, being so wide, it's tough to get a dam in here so I can get any elevation on the top end of my sluice. But it is clearing off, and I have spotted a number of pieces of gold being trapped on this indicator mat here, so we are in the hunt. One way or the other, we'll find out if this is where we need to be. Well, we're still here running away, and I just wanted to point out the immense amount of black magnetic sand in this stuff. I mean, there's both kinds of sand, non-magnetic and magnetic, but there is an exorbitant, word of the week, amount of magnetic black sand in here. I do have my magnet, and I'm going to go ahead and pull just one of these riffles right here. Look at that. It emptied right out. Look at the black sand stuck on that thing. Now I'll go ahead and I'll dump that right back on there in case there was any gold stuck in it. But just to give you the picture, that forces you to slow down your feed rate on a sluice like this, just because they're really starting to pack up with black sand. We've only got half of that bucket run. Slow going, but we'll see what we got in the end here. Back in a bit. All right, we're gonna do a cleanup here. Rigby says the sluice is clean enough. I don't see any visible, well, actually I do. I see a couple of really tiny pieces of visible gold down in them riffles there. It's a little bit tough, and I let it clean out just a little bit. So let's go ahead and pick this baby up, and we'll do a cleanup. Just like that. Just give it a few splashes here and there. Just like that. Yeah, it looks pretty darn clean to me. A couple little pebbles. Let me see if I can get them out of there. There ain't nothing. There. All right, let's put that in a pan, see what's in it. Here's the material we're left with, the pan. And I just now started pulling it back. As you can see, some of the larger materials are pulled back already, and I started to notice some really nice looking garnets in there. Look at how see-through that is. It's really nice. Got a nice color to it. Really nice. I'm going to save a number of them, and I'm sure there are more mixed up in this stuff here. So let me put the camera down and we'll take a look at what's underneath that black sand, because I know there's gold in there. Video update. And the gold. One level 5-gallon pail is going to get you, ooh, I would say there's close to, maybe 60 or 70 pieces in there. Super small. And I did do a pan out of the bottom of the pail out of that classified material, which is usually where the gold is settling to when you're swishing it all around classifying. And I got, I don't know, 20 or 30 pieces out of that. So we're probably close to 100 pieces in a 5-gallon pail. There are no larger pieces in there, but it's definitely worth coming down. Now Elijah here found this really cool rock. Is that a Chris Lilly rock, do you think, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's a nice
Let's take a little look at it. Looks like brains or something. Petrified brains. What do you think of that, Chris Lilly? Should we throw that in the mail? What do you think, Elijah? Should we throw that in the mail or should we throw it in the creek?
Mail.
Mail? I think we'll throw that one in the creek. That'll cost me $150 to mail that thing. Here's for you, Chris Lilly.
Score.
Video update. So I've been testing around a little bit. I moved from up there around the bend just a little bit downstream, following this bank right here, just looking for any clay deposits or anything. All right, now I did some panning right here, and I took a great big huge mound out of right there, maybe 2 feet off the bank right there, and there was just a little bit of clay, but the gold's better. Look at here. All right, let me get that showing up. A couple of bigger pieces in there, along with maybe a dozen or 15 really tiny little dots in there. See them? That's the best pan I've had to date here so far. And this spot has definitely got worthwhile gold to come to. I haven't found anything remotely close to a picker or a large flake or anything, but that's just fine. That's the majority of the gold you're going to find in Wisconsin, and for most of the Midwest for that matter. But I happen to know of another spot where I'm going to bring these guys they have not been to yet. And there is going to be some big smiles in pans and on your faces too, because they're in for a real treat. They're nice enough to show me one of their spots. I'm going to show them one of mine. All right, we're getting ready to peel out of here to go find some nice big chunks of gold. And before I forget, these guys brought me a gift package here. A bunch of different kinds of cheese curds from Ellsworth Cooperative Creamery. Look at all these different kinds here. And some beef sticks for the big rig. He's a hard-working miner. He needs that stuff. Well, I brought something for those guys too. A couple of bags of black poison. You guys know what that's all about. Really easy panning. And a number of stickers here. Hope you guys enjoy those. I really appreciate you bringing me down to your spot. All I can do is return the favor. So we'll swap items here and we'll beat feet out of here and go get some big gold.
Yeah.
All right. Back in a bit. Well, we made it. A brief 18-mile hike through the forest, through hills, over hills, under hills, to get to our spot. And look who's here. Charles from AU Guys Prospecting. He's up here high grading. I didn't think there'd be too much water here, so I didn't even bring a sluice, but he's got just enough, looks like, to run his. Is that Royal, Matt?
I believe so.
Yep, I've seen that before, I think. Royal Manufacturing Matt and his big sluice. Looks like he's hard at work over here, sweating away. So is Rigby. We're gonna start digging and find some big pieces. Back in a bit. All right, we're off to a good start. I just did one quick pan out of right here just to kind of get a feel for if I'm crazy or not. And I'm not. We found some really good gold in the first pan. I'll show you. Look at that. Look at how nice and big those pieces are. And all kinds of small stuff in there too. Look at them pieces. That is great. Now, I didn't bring a sluice along today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my material in a pan down to about that much. And I'm just going to dump it in my 5-gallon pail. And I'm going to do that over and over and over and over and over. And then we'll get this stuff home and we'll clean it up and take a look at it. I can't wait to see what they get in their first pan. Back in a bit. Point of note. When speed panning, I like to use the Super Sluice made by Garrett. That's going to get the job done. All right, we are speed panning away here. Now when I'm speed panning, I try to get a lot of the bigger rocks out with my hand while the pan is underneath the water, just to try to squish some of that clay off of them, and it's not as heavy. Then I just get it down to about this much material, and I'll pull some of these larger stones out of there like that there. You know, sometimes I'll briefly pull it back just to see if there's any gold, and there is. And I just dump it in my bucket, just like that. I can run way more material like this than I can sluicing, but it's extremely rough on your back. But I'm gonna plow through. So let me get a whole bunch of this stuff in my bucket. We're gonna get that baby cleaned up. You guys are never gonna guess who just got a picker. Well, it's me. But I threw it in there. We'll get that later. Things are going well. All right, we've had enough back breaking, speed panning for hours on end. Yeah? I want to say thank you to you guys again for inviting me out today. I had a blast. It sounds like you guys had a blast too.
Yes, we did.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. And we're gonna get all our concentrate home, give it a clean up, see what it looks like. Back in a bit. We made it back to the shop. First things first, we're gonna grab a cold one. Yeah. That's right. All right, here's our pail of concentrates right here, and we've got quite a bit to run through. As you can see, there's some bigger stuff in there. So I'm going to take this highly technical device here I call the kitchen type strainer device. And I'm going to turn this pile here into bigs and littles. I'm going to pan out the bigs, and I'll run the littles over my cleanup sluice right here. I've got my bilge pump speed controller hooked up to it. We'll turn that on when we're ready. But for now, let's see if there's any nuggets in the big stuff. All right, we're putting this stuff in my kitchen type strainer device here. Like such, give it a little shake. Now I know that I got a couple of pickers today, well, because I picked 2 of them up. Now they're pretty small, but I got them picked up, so I'm calling them pickers. But I could have, I don't know, I could have 10 pickers in this stuff here. When you're speed panning, it's all about getting through as much material as possible and getting it down to just the heaviest material so you can bring home more cons or do whatever you want with more cons, which is why I have so much of this big stuff left over. But that's how you move material. I'll get this stuff here, and it'll be easier for me to pan bigs and smalls separately. That's why we're doing this. And maybe we'll have 50 pickers in here. Who the heck knows? But we're gonna find out for sure together. Well, as per usual, here's all the gold that I got out of the big material. There is none. We do, however, have a nice pile of littles. And I know there's lots of good gold in there, including a couple teeny weeny little dots that I managed to pick up with these big old meat hooks. They're pickers. All right, water on. Check. Get rid of the bubbles. Check. All right, let's feed some material in there. This is gonna be good, because I know we got some really nice gold. A couple more bubbles right there. Got them. I'm gonna use my gold spoon for this. Grab a couple of scoops, throw them right on there. See what happens. I'll throw one more on there. Let it sit for a minute. Make sure this thing's running properly. And we'll wait for the gold to show up. I can already see a couple pieces in that little riffle area up on the top. So I think we're doing pretty well. Let me run about half of this stuff through there and we'll take a look at it. All right, now I've got that cleanup sluice all in a pan here, and I've been panning. Here's the big pile of non-gold material. And I just wanted to turn it on quickly here just to show you what I'm starting to see in this, the last of the last right here. Look what happens when I tap up on that pan. Look at that. We really did nice today. Really did well. Now I do have the gold from Tony's spot in here as well. And there are a couple of really nice garnets floating around in here somewheres that I saved from that spot. But look at the gold showing up in here. Let me give that a couple more taps right there. Ooh, doggy. Let me throw a little bit more water at that. Oh yeah, that is gonna be something else. All right, let me get the rest of this sand cleaned off of here, and we're gonna take a look at a nice pile of pure gold. There's some bigger pieces too. Bam! Oh, P.S. If anybody wants fashion advice, I'm your guy. And here's that gold under a macro lens. Here's some of the standout pieces. Now, I picked 2 of those up. I mean, I really had to try, and it's a stretch to call them pickers, but they're pickers. And here's a whole bunch of other gold in there. Plenty of little wiry pieces, and plenty of dust and dots. We did well, and that was just panning. I mean, you can absolutely crush gold. There's a nice piece right there. Let me see if I can get that a little bit better. You can crush gold just by panning, but boy, it takes a toll on your back. I mean, I'm going to have to drink 5 extra beers tonight just to get over this. Let me get that out of the macro lens there. That's it right there. Look at that. I bet you that might even be enough to weigh. Heck yeah, I can feel all of them. And I can feel the number of those right there. That is fantastic. P.S. Ever since I got this XP pan, I always run the material left after I snuffer up the gold over this snake skin right here. And there's why. That's all the gold I missed panning right there. Absolutely micro minus 10 trillion gold, but it's gold nonetheless. And I'm going to snuffer it up right now. That's right. Yeah. And that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Flourgoldwizards. We went and tried a couple of different spots, and I want to thank Tony and Elijah for having Rigby and I out, and thank you for the great snacks. We found some nice gold at your spot. We found some nice gold at my spot. Thank you for coming to my spot. It just goes to show you don't need all the big fancy equipment. You just need a strong back. We did some speed panning and it paid off. We got some great pieces in the pan today. So until the next episode, like, share, subscribe. Please do leave a comment. It helps build my channel. Check out my Patreon page in the description box below. Flourgoldwizards out. Why doesn't anybody listen to my fashion tips? Weird.